I'm Stuart Goldsmith, and today I'm talking to the very funny and the very well-informed Marcus Brigstocke about the moment when he started to write comedy about things that really mattered to him. If you'd like to hear our full conversation, you can download the full audio podcast from comedianscomedian.com. Here's Marcus Brigstocke. And when you're actually creating those, are you someone that sits and writes them? Are you doing spider diagrams and stuff like that, or
no,
what's your notebook look like? What's your writing process?
A mess, and full of keywords. So the process specifically is have an idea and then do it on stage. Okay. Do it. The idea
before any writing.
No, have the idea, make some notes, flesh it out, think about it, give yourself a start point and an end point and a thing to achieve during the thing. And
what do you mean by a thing to achieve?
Well, a thing to achieve would be, well, what is it? Is it a political thing? So do you want to prove the point that you're making? Or do you want to reach, for example, with the Greek economic situation, get yourself into a metaphor somehow, you know. Okay. So it might be as vague as that, or I may have an idea, and then go out and do it in front of an audience. And I've never found a suitably humble description for this process, but there is a thing that I think genuinely exists that I call super brain, which is comic on stage with mic in hand in a gig situation is capable of thinking of things that you cannot think of anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And the delight for me is striking on an idea that makes me laugh in the moment, and I go, brilliant, and I enjoy it as much as the audience enjoys it, sometimes more, in that moment, because I go, I had no idea that joke was coming either, and then, bam, there it is. And often, that's the perfect version of the joke. And the only person I have met who's capable of thinking like that, seemingly under no pressure, is Frank Skinner. Frank thinks in jokes. He thinks in complete crafted jokes, and I do not know how he achieves it, because it's not like he's so intelligent you can't have a chat with him.
Yeah.
But something's happening in Frank Skinner's brain where he can speak in whole, fully formed jokes, and it's breathtaking to be around.
Okay.
Very jealous of Frank Skinner.
Sure.
Whilst not particularly wishing to be that kind of comic, but I see it and go, wow.
Do you think that, would you like to see Frank Skinner doing more political stuff?
No, actually, no. I don't. The fact that I've ended up doing political stuff hasn't really led me to go, oh, well, you're wasting your time, because all you talk about, Ross Noble, is swans riding around on the back of a monkey.
Yeah.
Because I love what those people do, and the comedy I admire the most is not the comedy like my own. The stuff that I enjoy is different. Bill Bailey, Ross Noble, you know, lots and lots of. I mean, the Muppets probably have made me laugh more than anything else in my life. I still watch the old Muppet shows, and I still honk like a goose with laughter at how brilliant they are and anarchic and actually political in their way. But I don't. You know, I liked Bill Hicks because we're contractually bound as comedians to like Bill Hicks. And then comes the day when you realise the hypocrisy in some of what he did, and you go, oh no. But no, I don't. It doesn't bother me if someone like Frank isn't. It does with Frankie Boyle, as I said, because Frankie has a stunning ability to sharpen his jokes and hit targets and destroy them. He's brilliant at it. They just.
Yeah, his Twitter bio gives his occupation. It's just one word. It says sniper.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that to me would be more evidence of the ruination of Frankie, which is that somebody somewhere convinced him that he's the most dangerous man on earth. And actually, what he is an utterly brilliant and very charming man. He's a really lovely guy. Utterly brilliant comedian. Really, truly, genuinely brilliant. And I suspect the producer on Mock the Week was largely involved in this thing of going, go on, Frankie, go on. There's a disabled kid. There's someone who's been raped. Go get him, Buster. I'm like, those are not the people for me that I want to see those Exocet missile jokes destroy. I want to see them go after the people who cause pain rather than the people who are in pain. That's a great thing. It's glib, but someone said to me the function of satire is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. And I do that when I'm writing. If I write a new show, I'll often scribble that at the top of the page, and then at the end you go, oh no, well I can't have that one then. That's cheating.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel a responsibility then to try to make do you feel like you're making a difference? Do you feel you're contributing to changing people's minds?
No, definitely no. I mean, I do really think that I do, but no, not genuinely. I mean, I sort of, while I'm doing it, I go, yeah, we're going to change the world, come on. And then afterwards, it's important to disassociate yourself from the idea that what you've done is anything other than tell jokes to people. It is just that. It just happens to be the subjects on which I am most passionate are the ones, as you'd understand, that I'm most that I find it easiest to be funny about because I'm passionate about them. And what happened for me was I started off and I was a really good club comic, and I feel all right about saying that, ego aside, because it was such a different version of me. I was very good at copying voices and styles and tones that I'd seen on television or anywhere else. And so I became a headliner at Jongleurs and stuff, and I'd headline and I'd encore their shows. And I just remember after a while I'd come off stage having encored and stormed it and, blah, 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 standing ovations and all the loveliness. And I just felt like crap. I was like, I don't understand. Why don't I feel great? What's going on? And it wasn't just kind of, I wish I was further up the career ladder. It was just that I wasn't talking about anything that I minded about. So everything sort of thing. And as luck would have it, the Iraq War came along. And lucky me. The Iraq War came along, and I suddenly found that I did care desperately about that. And I felt terribly betrayed because it was very exciting. I was at university when Labour came into power in 97, and I was like, wow, this is a thing. This is a real thing. Here we go. And I felt very betrayed. And I was at odds with audiences very often. Once the war began, there was this very odd attitude that we ought to support the troops, whereas my opinion was, well, fine, but which troops? Ours or theirs? Both? Neither in my case. I didn't want there to be a war, so why would I support either troops? I didn't want anybody to hurt anybody else in a very sort of naive kind of way, but I didn't support our troops killing their troops any more or less than I supported theirs killing ours. No one should have been involved in that particular conflict in that way, not unless everything else in terms of oil imports, weapons sales and all the rest of it had changed first. Then, if there's a dictator out there and all of those other things are lined up very neatly, then I would support a war, but otherwise no. So I was very much at odds with audiences who went, once you go in, you get behind the boys. And I was like, nope, not me, sorry. And it changed. It really changed everything I did in comedy. And I was like, no, I'm not going to just write stuff that pleases the audience that I'm in front of. As it happens, once you make that decision, the audience that comes to see you tend largely to be people who agree with you. So it closes itself back up.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. That's kind of an issue that, like, I've noticed on some of your Radio 4 stuff, you affect this kind of not a disdain, but a sort of a poking fun at the cosy Radio 4 audiences, and they're the people to whom you're their brightest star.
Well, yes, because the accusations of a liberal elite are absolutely right. I mean, I feel awkward saying this, but there is a liberal elite, and I'm part of it, and it doesn't reflect the view of most people in the UK. But I'm still glad that there is a liberal elite because I'm part of it, and I don't wish necessarily to reflect the views of everybody living in the UK because our media isn't good enough. I'm not saying those people are thick. I'm not saying they're not even working hard enough to find out the truth or whatever. I'm saying it's too difficult. Most people don't have time. I lead a disgustingly comfortable lifestyle. I can spend a few days reading the paper, watching the telly, channel hopping and being on Twitter and say I've done an excellent fortnight of research.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can like it, subscribe to it, or share it with someone who's new to the show. And remember, the full audio podcast of this episode is available from comedianscomedian.com. See you next time.